What is up guys, Bounce here and welcome to round 4 here in the McLaren career mode on this channel. Now you're probably wondering, where's China? And well, China was very eventful. So first of all, my Elgato failed to capture the race. I was recording and everything, and then after recording for about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes, when I went to stop the recording, it decided to freeze, which meant I lost all the footage. But I can tell you what happened in that race. We qualified around P13, so not the best, and in turn 5, I believe it was, yes, turn 5, the first of the left-handers in the middle section, we were pushed out wide a bit by Romain Grosjean, went to come back on the track perfectly safely, and Grosjean ran wide again, hit us, and completely destroyed our front left wheel and retired us from the race. So that was very unfortunate. So we're coming off the back of a DNF. Now, my next plan for the R&D was the engine upgrade, and that is what we will go with. Unfortunately, it's not here for Sochi because we didn't get that many R&D points from China because of DNF in the race in the first lap. So that was unfortunate, but we'll progress on to qualifying. So the qualifying lap then, opening the DRS past the first kink. Coming down towards turn 2 now. It's quite a heavy braking zone, down from over 200 miles an hour. As you see, we cut the corner there, and this race is going to be an absolute masterclass in corner cutting. Unfortunately, I was going to say I can't really help it, but of course I can. But it's extremely easy to cut corners here in Sochi, and it's not intentional. It's really just turning in too soon, or just braking a bit heavier than what I normally would, or track extending too. That's also very easy to do in Sochi. But it's quite a good lap here so far, very tidy. It's not really a track that I expect to do well at with McLaren. As see, another corner cut there. It's not really a track I expect to do well in due to the straight line deficit of this car. Yet another corner cut, really racking them up in this lap. Making up for that lack of straight line speed, of course. We do need to get any advantage that we can get, but no, those corner cuts weren't intentional. Just kind of poor driving, really, you could say. That one was extremely poor. That was a very bad, very bad corner cut. So my apologies for that one. But so far, every time I go to talk, there's a corner cut. Fantastic. But so far, it's been a relatively clean driving-wise lap. Not track limits-wise, of course, as I'm sure you've seen. But it's been a relatively good time, and provisional P3 there, and I will turn you over to Crofty for the grid.
Yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Nico Rosberg completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen and Ricciardo, a McLaren, Massa, Alonso and Valtteri Bottas, Hülkenberg, Perez, Esteban Gutierrez and Sainz, Kvyat, Magnussen, Romain Grosjean and Jolyon Palmer, Wehrlein and Nasser, Marcus Ericsson and Rio Haryanto completes the grid.
So here we are then for the start of the Russian Grand Prix. We have 5 lights and we are underway for this Russian Grand Prix. So it's a relatively clean start, as you see there, taking up the middle of the track, and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen there, punting the Mercedes into the wall. I do believe that was Nico Rosberg, so Rosberg was very fortunate not to lose his wheel there, as Verstappen still weaving about quite a lot. He was really scaring me quite a bit and caused me to miss the braking zone there and run slightly wide. So hasn't been the cleanest start from the pack, especially from Max Verstappen, causing a few incidents and generally just being quite a bit scary. As you see a Ferrari there go into the wall. Not sure really what happened there, but let's take another look here from the point of view of Felipe Massa. And as you can see, Raikkonen is just following the Mercedes there. The Mercedes turns in, cuts in on Raikkonen's line, pushes him into the wall, and Massa's caught up in it too, hitting off both Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso, and this did cause a safety car, as you can see here. So we are in P4, so running extremely well here in this race. And my apologies, it was actually Daniel Ricciardo the cause of those incidents, not Max Verstappen, as he is quite clearly leading this Grand Prix. As we come for the restart then, it's green flags looking to get side by side with Sebastian Vettel, and he gives us the space, so we move up into P3 then, as we come on to start lap 5. Lewis Hamilton will definitely have something to say about Max Verstappen leading this race, as that Mercedes is much quicker than that Red Bull in the straight line without slipstream. Never mind with the slipstream, and he goes on the inside round the kink, and Verstappen tries to push him out wide a bit, but Hamilton will quite clearly have the corner there and get the move done extremely convincingly and very simple. So definitely good for Lewis Hamilton then, as he did not lose any time at all behind Max Verstappen. As we look to dive Max Verstappen there, it's a very good overtake, as it gave us a room, no incidents caused, into P2. So here we are then around the kink. Verstappen and possibly even Sebastian Vettel, and yes, Vettel does look to go on the middle then. It's 3 wide into turn 1. That was never going to end well. There was nowhere for me to go there. I was aware that we were 3 wide and I was trying to brake and turn in as much as possible, but unfortunately those things happen when you go 3 wide into a heavy braking zone. So we come into the pits then on lap 8, just starting lap 9. It's important here to get a very quick pit stop. As you can see, the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton is already out, so we need a quick pit stop here from the team. Unfortunately, it's not the best at 2.9. It could have been worse, but it wasn't brilliant, let's be honest. And due to that early safety car and incidents, there's a lot of different drivers on very mixed strategy here. As you can see, we pitted in lap 8 and we returned out of the pits in P20, so very low down the order then. As we see a replay here of Nico Rosberg completely losing it there around turn 3. Not really sure what happened there. We'll have to have another look at it from Nico Rosberg's point of view. As you can see here, he's following the manner of, I believe that is Rio Haryanto. Haryanto leaves the door open ever so slightly. Rosberg goes in there and it just gets slammed in his face and spun around. Very reminiscent of the accident in lap 1, although unfortunately for Nico Rosberg, he was on the receiving end of it this time, as we go up the inside rather easily there of Rio Haryanto as we overtake Vettel there in the pits, so we do remain ahead of him, and we come on to the back of Lewis Hamilton here on a massive train that Pascal Wehrlein was leading. You also saw that Marcus Ericsson was also in that train, so we can look to gain quite a lot of gain quite a lot of positions here whilst everybody is stuck behind Pascal Wehrlein. We'll definitely look to take advantage of this as we come around through turn 1 now, opening the DRS. We should be able to get Hamilton here into turn 1 if we do time it right, and we do brake a little bit early, but fortunately Hamilton also braked a little bit early and we get him there into turn 1. Now the next target will be Felipe Massa, looking to get him as quickly as possible before Kimi Räikkönen can get past Pascal Wehrlein and get out of reach. So we dive up the inside of Felipe Massa there, very clean and routine overtake there on the superior compound tyre. So here we are then down the back straight, Kimi Räikkönen going side by side with Pascal Wehrlein. He probably will make that move stick, so it's important that we get the closing speed as much as possible. And we do indeed dive up the inside of Pascal Wehrlein. I was not expecting to make that move. I was basically just braking where I normally wouldn't, saw that Wehrlein was very heavy on the brakes, so decided to take the opportunity to go up his inside and follow Kimi Räikkönen through, and that is indeed what we did. And now we are onto the back of Kimi Räikkönen, coming into the slow final few corners here. It's important that we get a good exit out of the final corner to get onto the back of him and overtake him with the DRS. And that is indeed what we look to do, as we are in P2 at the moment, so it's going extremely well. So this is for the lead of the race here. Down into turn 1 we will open the DRS, going 218, 220, 219 miles an hour into turn 1, and we make that move stick. So here we are then, lap 17. As you can see, cars behind us setting the fastest laps of the race. That's rather worrying, as Lewis Hamilton here looks to attack us down into turn 2. And we just defend the inside there, cover him off extremely nicely, nowhere for him to go. Now will he try and move around turn 3? This has been a very accident prone corner so far this weekend, so I was very cautious of not leaving him any bit of space, because having seen the AI react to the slightest amount of space around turn 3, I really did not want to leave the door open for him to go in there and potentially cause an accident that would either harm our race or even his race, to be honest. I don't really want to win our first race by a collision. I actually want to win that race on merit, as I believe, nice corner cut, as I believe that the previous 2 races, well, the previous 2 out of 3 the races, we did get We did finish second both times, as Lewis Hamilton goes up the inside there with the DRS. No way we could defend, not a chance. But yeah, those 2 second places I believe were on merit. In Bahrain there was a safety car and a few incidents here and there, but we did have to defend very rigorously. So following Hamilton through this final sector, then we'll look to try and stick with him, get the DRS and help use him to pull us along to stretch the gap out to Sebastian Vettel, who is only 1.4 seconds behind, so he is dangerously close to that DRS zone, which he may well get at the end of the lap as we open our DRS now. And the closing speed here is so high that we can actually look to get the Mercedes into turn 2, and indeed we do. We squeeze him out a little bit there. No contact made, giving him space on exit. So we are down the back straight now on lap 18. Lewis Hamilton going on the inside. Absolutely nothing I could do about that, having to go to the middle of the track there to stop Vettel from potentially following through. And we almost hit the back of Hamilton there. He was much slower out the traction zone than what I thought he would be. So we move on to lap 19, and we could potentially attack Lewis Hamilton here, although we have also got to be wary of Sebastian Vettel behind us. So we have to go for the move there, going into turn 2, braking down from 218 miles an hour. We make that move stick. Although do we make that move stick, as Lewis Hamilton is still there and he's looking to go side by side with us through turn 3. And potentially Sebastian Vettel, yes he does, he puts his nose in there, so Vettel's also got past, but we can defend from Vettel into this next corner and push him out wide. He had no room, nowhere to go. So we at least make that, keep P2, although down the back straight again, the superior straight line speed of that Ferrari really shows as he gets us again down that back straight, as that has become a theme so far in this race as Rio Haryanto retires from the race. So here we are again then down the back straight, and this time we're going to have to defend from Daniel Ricciardo with the DRS. Fortunately that Red Bull is not as quick in a straight line as the Mercedes or the Ferrari, so we can defend. So we lunge up the inside of that corner. Very risky, very risky move there. That could have ended in tears, but fortunately we did manage to stay on the track and no contact was made, although Ricciardo got an almighty run at us out of the kink there, and he will be ahead into turn 2, and he locks up there under a lot of pressure, and this surprised me. And as you can see, Ricciardo comes back onto the track and takes the front wing off of Max Verstappen. So Christian Horner must be absolutely fuming with both of his drivers there after that incident, after Ricciardo locked up and came back onto the track at an alarming rate of knots and really did damage his teammate Max Verstappen. And the reason I ran wide as well, because I was very surprised that Ricciardo did lock up. It really caught me off guard as we come down the back straight now. Ricciardo and Vettel go past us there. It was 3 wide ever so briefly, and unfortunately because Raikkonen is there, there's no chance of us getting past Daniel Ricciardo there in the braking zone. So it's been an incredible race so far. Very tight defensively. We're having to do a lot of defensive moves and really risk the car a lot. I don't usually make that many dive bombs or take too many risks, but unfortunately when you are in an uncompetitive car fairly high up the grid, you have to take those risks if you want to score the top points and potentially move the car forward or even move teams later on in the career. As you see, Ricciardo and Raikkonen going side by side there. Raikkonen pushing Ricciardo out a little bit there. That was interesting to see as we completely jump the braking zone and get them both into turn 2. That was a great move there. Very risky yet again. But you've got to take these risks as previously stated. So Ricciardo goes past us down the back straight, taking another risk into the braking zone. Unfortunately this time, with the tyres more worn out, just couldn't get the car to stop and they will both go through. So an error on my part there as we come to lap 26 now, really falling off the pace as the tyres have gone and we have no more fuel to utilise. And Bottas just goes up the inside there, down the back straight, but we do get him again in the same spot at the corner there. Really, just McLaren is really good on the brakes as you can see, but it's one thing it's not good at, as shown there by Bottas, is straight line speed, but we do look to undercut him here. But he knew exactly what we were trying to do and just pushed us out wide, and unfortunately we couldn't get him. I was hoping to lunge a little bit there and pressure him into a mistake, maybe locking up like Daniel Ricciardo did, but unfortunately he didn't do that and we ran out of fuel, so we finish in a very respectable P6. I was very happy with that result. It was an extremely fun race to take part in. A lot of great battles, a lot of great fights.
So another Another fantastic victory.
And I think P6 overall is a very good result, having beaten Fernando Alonso now 3 times out of 4 races. Of course, the only race being China that we hadn't beaten him in, so apologies for Mail Gatto deciding that he didn't actually want to save the recording and just wanted to freeze completely. That was extremely frustrating. But let's not dwell on that too much, as it's another great result. It's really helping drag the team forward into where it really shouldn't be. I mean, we really shouldn't be this high up the grid fighting for podiums, actually. In every race so far, we've definitely, well, apart from China, we've fought for a podium. Got 2nd place twice now, so those were very successful races. This was also a successful race, bearing in mind the weak engine. Even though it's upgraded, it's still a weak engine on a very power heavy track as Sochi. So there we are then. P6, Lewis Hamilton winning the race again, Sebastian Vettel in 2nd, Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd, Raikkonen in 4th, Bottas in 5th, Gutierrez in 7th, Hülkenberg, Danny Kvyat and Max Verstappen round up the top 10. Very good recovery there from Verstappen, considering he lost his front wing. And Fernando Alonso, why he's down in P20 in last of the actual finishers, I have no idea. Don't really know what happened to him. Couldn't really find what happened to him in the replays either, so he must have just had a bad strategy call or got held up massively in between the pit stops. But that has been episode 3, round 4 of the championship. So if you are enjoying this series, please do leave a like and subscribe, and Spain shall be out tomorrow. Take care.